Okay, so now we're recording.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sandwich Makers. I am Marnie Schneider with my fabulous co-sandwich maker.
I'm Satoya.
Thank you, Satoya. And so this show really started because Satoya was my mother's caregiver. And during that time, if anybody has had any experience with an elderly parent or a loved one that needs caregiving, it's usually a very intimate situation. And especially for someone like me and someone like Satoya, because we like to go deep, like we like to get to know the nitty gritty of everyone's life.
Absolutely.
So Satoya was with my mom, my most, precious friend. And Satoya became my most precious friend because she was taking care of my mother. So we decided that since we had so many things in common, that we wanted to do a podcast. And Satoya, why don't you share a little bit about your situation at home and your life and why we think we have a lot of things in common?
Well, when I first stepped into this situation, taking care of Marty's mom, I didn't know what I was getting into. She didn't know what she was getting into. And so when you go into somebody's home, you have to gain their trust. So as I started coming more often, me and Marty would talk here and there, but we really didn't talk. So, days went by, months went by, and we started gradually talking even more. Half the time, my shift would be over. I will still be down there.
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours.
2 hours. I'm like, it's 9 a.m. You
Yeah.
gotta go.
Yeah, I mean, because, we, even though we come from different backgrounds, we're both single parents, we're go-getters, we try to go do what we can to make it work. And I know when we be talking, I was like, I'm that type. I don't like asking nobody for nothing. I'll go out there and get it if I can. She's the same way. That's why I call her my sister. And so it's just as we started peeling back these layers, we started figuring out we're more alike than we think we are. So, and when she brought up the sandwich maker concept to me, you know what that was. I was like, break it down to me. I don't know. And as she started breaking down, a sandwich maker is pretty much somebody's a caregiver that's outside the home, somebody's home, and inside the home. So it's like when I would leave home, I was coming into her home and taking care of her mom. And so it's like you're juggling both lives.
And you have a family at home. You have your mom that lives with you.
Yes.
And your son who's autistic, Malik. We love Malik. Here's Malik. Here's Malik. Here's Malik. There's Malik right there.
Yeah, that's Malik.
Malik. There's Malik. Here's Malik. So, Satoya and I, my kids are our kids are about the same age, with the exception of Malik, who's going to be in high school, and my youngest just finished his first year of college. But there's Malik, because Malik is Billy from Philly in Game Day in Philadelphia. So what Satoya and I realized was that, like, we really are, and I had been reading about this term, the sandwich makers, or we're the sandwich generation, because our parents are aging and we have kids at home that we're taking care of. And so I was like, well, then we're really sandwich makers, because we're making the sandwich of love and trying to find ways to take care of ourselves too, but also really making sure that our adult loved ones are taken care of. And if you have a partner, if you are married, then your husband or your wife, they need to be taken care of too. So you're really in a double-decker sandwich or a triple-decker sandwich. And then, taking care of our kids, and our kids are always needing us. I mean, we're single moms, so finding the time and the bandwidth to make sure that that we are taking care of ourselves, that we are definitely the low man on the totem pole.
Oh, yes.
But we've been educating each other on why it's important to prioritize ourselves too. It's hard for people like us.
It is.
It's hard. Why is it hard, Satoya?
I mean, I think you're so dedicated and devoted on what you do, because when I know me and I know her, we love hard. We love hard. And so it's like, if I feel like I hadn't did what I need to do, I feel bad about myself. And she's the same way. And so that's why I say we're so much alike. And I will give you my last breath, my last dollar, just to make sure you good. And that's what she gets on to me about. but
Only because I'm older. It's not because I don't do that. It's 'cause
yeah.
I have wisdom because I'm 10 years older
Yeah.
than you. So I know, I'm like,
But you don't look it.
well, thank you. You know, good genes, just
Yes.
minus the dementia, but you know, good genetics. So I think that, yes, and of course, you know, the dogs love Satoya too. So that is a huge part of it. You know, if the dogs like you, then automatically,
Yes,
then you're
that's
in.
it.
That helps.
Yes.
But I think that because I have some you know, I have a little bit of wisdom. Yeah, we give everything to everybody. Like I always say, like, there's a meme. It's like where your pant pockets are pulled out and they're sticking out and they're white. They look like rabbit ears. Cause like we've given everything to everybody. Have you seen that meme?
No, I
You know,
haven't.
you know what I'm talking about though? It's like if you're wearing a pair of jeans and you pull the pant pocket out, okay, like this.
Uh-huh.
Here, I'll show you. I'll do a little show and tell. Okay, that's because we have given, oh, by the way, we're sitting on the same chair.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're sitting, okay, so this is called rabbit ears, all right? Cause we've
Okay,
given
yeah, we've
everything
given
out of our
really-
pockets to everybody else.
Well,
all
half
right?
the time I don't got pockets.
Well, I always have pockets, if I've got, you know, keys and
Yes.
things and phones and whatever. But ultimately, we really think that that we want to share our stories with everybody. We want to hear from everybody so that we can understand what other people, other caregivers are going through. It doesn't matter. Maybe, you know, you don't have your own children, but you have pets, and that's something, and you've taken care of the
Absolutely.
elderly. You know, or maybe your kids are older. It doesn't really matter. Being a caregiver and being a sandwich maker, I mean, obviously, we love our pets. You know, there really is a wide group of people that are just committed to stepping up and making a difference. And some people, you know, I was really fortunate that my mom was able to live was able to live in the house. You must have good moisturizer.
I must,
Yeah.
I must taste
Yeah,
like cookie.
yeah, you do. Yeah, it smell like sugar. You're my sugar.
I know.
Mhm.
I love you.
I love you. And I think that what's so special about, you know, the caregiving thing is that you really watch people that are angels on earth for the most part, really
Mhm.
being able to take care of what will ultimately be our, you know, our angels. But I think that caregiving is such a special thing. And I was so fortunate that my mom got to live in the house that I got to live. I mean, I still say I live with my mom, even though that might not be true, but I live with my, yeah,
Technically do.
I live with my
You do.
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a great blessing. So my mom and I lived together for 6 years. And during that time, you know, getting to make friends with the caregivers that were coming in and out to help, because it's really not, it's not just a one man
Mm-mm,
job or a one
mm-mm,
woman job.
mm-mm.
It requires heavy lifting
It's
emotionally.
24 hours.
It is.
It is.
And yeah, it's 24 hours. And then you add on top of that, like, you know, having to go to the store to get the supplies, to get the things that are necessary, to make sure that the person that's requiring the care, that they have whatever they need, and then that the caregivers also have whatever they need. And I loved having caregivers in my house because I was able to make friends with them
Mhm.
and to show them that they matter to me in little ways that might, you know,
Yeah.
that might have made them feel good and know that they are valued. And I know that working in big institutions, sometimes people don't have an option and they have to have their family there,
Yeah.
and work is only available at those places. So I was really fortunate that I did not have to take that road from my mom. But I know that also just making friends
Yeah.
with the people that are in your life is a good thing, whether it's the caregivers or
Yeah.
teachers.
I mean, because you
yeah.
just never know what paths y'all gonna cross at the end. Because I'll tell anybody, you know, when I first stepped in this, like I said, I didn't never think we were become friends. And we're the best of friends. I mean, I can call
We're
her.
sharing a chair,
We
okay?
are. We're sharing a chair if y'all could see.
Right. And you know,
And I told her, I said, well, I don't think I could fit on that chair because of my butt.
No. And I was like, no, you got it. You got it.
But
You know,
I'm so glad and thankful that our paths cross and we're able to still communicate with each other. I can cry on her shoulder, she can cry on mine. And it's like we've learned each other so well. She was like, I know when you lying to me. And I was like, no, you don't. She was like, yes, I do.
uh-huh.
And I was like, I know there's something wrong with you because your facial expression. So it's like it's good to pick up on them little things, you know, about another person. So
It is. Well, that's because you are also a very thoughtful, empathetic woman. And I think that the way, my grandfather had a saying, and he would always say, civility is not a sign of weakness. And so I think that you obviously display that because you're a full-time caregiver. And I certainly try to be, empathetic and kind. And I believe that I am. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. And generous and thoughtful too, because it's like, I want somebody, I want to treat people the way that I would want to be treated.
Absolutely. That's the
And
main focus.
and sometimes you have to remember that people are not, my mom would always say also, like, if you expect people to do what you would do, you'll be living a life of constant disappointment.
You
So you
will.
cannot, you absolutely cannot, because it's not personal. So it's like, you want to do things that are genuine and kind for people just because you want to do it without expecting anything in return. And I think that that was another thing that like we really could bond with each other on. And as moms who care about our kids, who care
Lord,
about our
I
parents,
spoil kids.
I know you do, and so do I. And sometimes we're just like, oh, why did we do that?
Yeah.
Why did we do that? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why did, please tell me no, don't do
Yeah.
that next time. But we'll probably do it.
Yeah.
We'll probably do it. It's
Yes,
just
we
who we
will.
are. But I think that creating a show where we can bring guests on to talk about different technology in caregiving, different things that are going on, different trends. We want people to reach out to us and we want people to talk to us. We want to have guests on sharing their experience about being a caregiver for someone that they love while still, again, being a sandwich maker, having
Yeah.
pets, having family, having a job, having a full-time job.
Yeah.
Okay. And being a caregiver, and taking care of your loved ones. There's so many different things that kind of the caregiver, the caregiving sandwich really incorporates. Like we like to say, we're the sandwich makers. We're gonna have to go to Jersey Mike's and see if they'll
Yeah.
sponsor us. Right?
And get something to eat while we're there.
I love Jersey Mike's.
I do
Jersey
too.
Mike's,
Yeah.
if you're listening.
But
But I think that, well, because food is a way of showing love too. And you know
or
what?
a simple hug
Yeah.
or a simple hey, it goes farther than you think it does. It really does. And so, if she hadn't came down them steps and said like, "Hey, Satoya," I'm like, let me text her and see if she all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, you kind of get that vibe from one another by being around each other. And like I said, there were some days, when you do caregiving, it's emotional, it's physical. I mean, and some days you're just not there physically or mentally, but you give your last go. But sometimes she'd be like, "Are you all right?" A simple hug, I'll feel better. I've came down, worked, my head was killing me. She made sure I was good. So it's all about making sure your caregiver is, loved, appreciated, because we have a hard job. We really do.
You really do. And that's why I say you're angels on earth because you really do. I mean, good caregivers. There's some people that aren't so
Yeah,
great at
yeah.
their job, but I think in general, people that have chosen to go in the caregiving business have they really are angels on earth. It is something that taking care of somebody who isn't able to take care of themselves is really and remarkable a remarkable thing to think about doing. I highly encourage people to go into the caregiving business because there's, definitely, I think it's really rewarding. I know that while I was not doing some of the caregiving things that were required from my mom, I did a tremendous amount of other things. I'm not a trained caregiver, but I think that everybody should experience kind of like everybody should experience being a caregiver at one point in their life, because I think it really does make people understand and realize having a little more empathy for others is
you're
a good
right.
thing.
You're right.
It's just a good
I
thing.
think everybody, even if it's not the role for you or it doesn't fit with you, I think everybody should experience, because you just never know. You might end up liking it, you might not. But I mean, it's the reward out of it, because like I was telling Marty, I love going into people's homes, doing the one-on-one care. That's the most rewarding. But I told her what I don't like is when they pass away, because you have got literally attached to that person, and that's your family. So when you stepping into somebody else's home, they become your family. And so that's what I told her. That's the only thing I don't like, because that's like losing a part of you. That's your family.
I know. I know, Satoya, I know. And, you know, we had a couple times before my mom did ultimately pass away where we looked at each other and with, you know, like, is this it? And
Yeah.
it wasn't. And we, you know, but we were there for each other and
Yes.
running through the mental checklist of, okay, if this is it,
Yeah.
we're here, we got this, you
Yes.
know, we're not gonna,
Yeah.
you know, it's, we knew that eventually my mom was gonna, you know, pass away, and that was something that we had both kind of, I think, braced ourselves for impact. You still never,
You just never know. You can never prepare yourself
no,
for it. I mean, you can do all the steps that you need to do to get it prepared financially, you know, but mentally and physically, you'll never get prepared for that.
no.
Never. And so it's very hard.
Yeah, and I think that's another great thing to have on our show is we can have financial advisors talk about,
Yeah.
you know, if you are a caregiver, some things to do. There's so many things and so many things that I don't even know that I wish I had done.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I knew the broad strokes of making sure that my mom was okay and having, you know, the situation taken care of. But I really am excited to give people the tools through our show to get to know certain things that we didn't know or that we do know. I will say this, that, you know, Jonathan, who you know,
Yeah.
when he was 9 months old, he was diagnosed with neuroblastoma. So he didn't walk or talk till he was almost 5, which is incredible to think about. And so during that time, Jonathan's doctors and I had physical therapists come to the house every day, speech therapists, occupational therapists, and I became really good friends with those women because they were in my life and they were helping my son. So I would always say, like, I'm so grateful in many ways, and I can say this because Jonathan's healthy and, you know, survived that, like, that he had cancer because I made great friends with that. And while obviously it's a little harder for me to say this about my mom, but I do think that the gifts that people give you, the best gifts in life are relationships and people. And so while I wish my mom didn't have dementia, but since she did, and since we went through it, another gift that she gave me was you.
Yeah. Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She did.
And those are lifelong gifts that I treasure, and relationships are so important to me. As an only child, I think that I have been so blessed with people that wanted to call themselves my sister. Like, that is such a huge compliment. You're my sister too.
Yeah.
But people that want to call themselves my sister, people that I hold in high esteem, like you, and that they want to be related to me, you know, through choice, not through, not, you know, because not, they want to, they choose to be related to me. That's something that is a real blessing, and says and gives me such, fills my heart with love and joy. So
Oh
thank
yeah,
you,
she
Satoya.
got recruited before she even knew it. Like I said, you in my family now. I said, come on, we got things to do.
And I knew that, and then I could tell over the weekend, I
Yeah.
was really, you put me to work, and
I did.
right, I know. But that's the thing. It's like, I want to please you. I want to make you happy. You work so hard,
Thank
and
you.
you do so many things
You
for some. What I do, I
You do.
definitely do. Hard
do.
work is, you know, is a blessing. We get to
Yeah.
do hard work, and we get to do things that are special to us and make a difference, and really add value. Again, like being able to incorporate Malik in one of my books was something really special to me. I wanted to celebrate you through your son.
Well,
And
he was excited to meet you. I tell you that.
I know, I know. Well, he is a really great young man, and having a child with special needs is exhausting. You know,
It is.
Stacy,
It is.
my best friend from Penn State, from college, her son Hugh is autistic. He is not really that verbal. And, you know, and so he is in my Game Day in Pittsburgh book because while Hugh might be autistic, he's still the best tour guide for the city of Pittsburgh. And I know what Stacy goes through, and I know what kind of mom you are with Malik, and it's hard.
It is.
And you're doing amazing, and he's an amazing example of what you're doing. So,
Yeah. Well,
you know,
thank you. Thank
I want you to be really proud of that.
Thank you.
And I know it's tough having a child with special needs.
Yeah.
Is very difficult. And then at the same time, again, that's like another component of being a sandwich maker.
It just hits you at different areas. Like I said, you know, you're a caregiver, you're a caregiver 24 hours on the clock and off the clock.
Yeah,
I never stop working. I'm even working in my sleep.
of course you are.
I'm pretty sure I'm like calculating when I can do this and when I can do that. And I mean, you're just always going.
You are.
And
And
she always tell me, sit down somewhere. You too. You sit down.
I know. Well, that's what I think also for us is like it's a good reminder because I am older than
Yeah.
you to be like, okay, wait a minute. This is what I want for you. I want you to, I want the best for you. I want to be your cheerleader. I want to remind you how great you are. And the people that are in your life, I have to be worthy of that. Like I have to remind myself of that because I don't listen to myself sometimes or
No.
other people, but I'm at the place now where I'm like, okay, that's really this was another lesson learned from losing my mom is that that
You
I
have to take time for yourself.
you do.
You do.
You do. And it seems selfish, but it's really not.
No, it's not.
It's really not. Why does it seem selfish? Why is it hard for us?
I honestly, I don't know because we're in our head, we're so gun ho about pleasing somebody else, making sure they're good. It's like, prime example, I didn't want her to have to ask her to help me, serve at the baby shower, but it was like my hands was tied up.
You
I
didn't
was
ask me.
like,
I volunteered.
well, then I probably forced you to.
No, no, it was a discussion. All right,
Yeah.
we'll talk about this. And then, so at the baby shower, there was a beautiful buffet. Satoya had worked so hard and there were a lot of people there and the family decided that the best thing to do was to have people helping people with the food at the buffet versus just, going at it full force. So they were having a discussion about what to do and who was going to help. And I was like, I'll help because again, I want Satoya to know that she matters to me and I want to be involved. If I'm going to be there, I want to show up and be a good friend and be a good family member. And that's what one does when they're trying to let the other person know. They roll up their sleeves and they get involved.
She came in heels, but she left in shoes.
That's not barefoot. I did.
No,
I did come in heels.
shoes.
I wanted to wear pretty shoes,
Yeah. And
uh,
she was beautiful, but she left in titty shoes.
I did. Well, I was smart. I brought my
Yes,
other shoes.
you
I was like,
did.
you know what? If I, need to be running around and picking up things, I want to make sure that I'm not, crawling around on the floor doing it. So people aren't like, what's wrong with her? Your sister looks a little crazy. Yeah. Well, I
It worked out good.
it did. It was a beautiful party and you had a great party for your daughter and your granddaughter. And that's really, watching what you do for your family. It reminds me of what my mom, had done for me
Yeah.
and what I think I do for my kids. And so again, that's part of like us being relatable to one another. We definitely came from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Satoya's from the South. I was born in Philadelphia, lived in Southern California, but we have so many more things in common and than not in common.
Yeah, you're right.
So many more. Like I wouldn't even, I mean, other than like what don't like the thing is like if somebody said, the laundry list of what we have in common is very, very long, other than the fact that like we grew up on different parts of the country.
Yeah.
That's really, you have dark hair.
Yeah.
So do I,
Yeah.
actually, naturally.
But I mean, the list goes on. It's just like, when we were sitting there talking yesterday, and I was telling her, I said, you are very business minded. I wish I had that. And she was like, don't worry, you'll get there.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just like we feed off each other. It's like, I'm in my head, I was like, I can't give you nothing. She, I never know. I am giving her something. I'm giving her company. I'm giving her love. I'm giving her comfort. She might not get that elsewhere, but I'm here to give her that. Some people might not think it's much, but I think it's a whole lot because that little bit goes a long way because you just never know how that next person is feeling inside. And it's always good to talk about it. Don't keep that stuff bothered up. And so as we was talking yesterday, we started laying more stuff out and she was like, I get it, Satoya. I get it. I get it. And she totally does get it. And she knows, like I said, from us being around each other and starting getting closer and closer and closer, she does get it. And I appreciate her. And, I love her. And, I was even over here crying because she really does get it. I mean, this is a true friend. This is really a true friend. And, I can count on my one hand how many true friends I got, and that's not many. So I know I can call her if I ever need something, vice versa. She can call me. And that's what it's about, And like I said, it don't have to be money wise. It's all about love, comfort. I can come confide in you when I just want to let my hair down. And I don't want to tell the next person. I'm gonna tell you, I know my stuff, my secrets, whatever is going on in my life will stay with you.
And I'll make you coffee because you like
Yeah.
how I make you coffee.
Yes, I love my coffee.
I'll always make you coffee.
Yes, I know you will.
Well, it's little gestures like
Yeah,
that. And
it
thank you,
does.
Satoya.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel very safe with you too. I mean,
Yeah.
again, at the most vulnerable times of my life with my mom,
Mhm.
you were there. So
Mhm.
it's like if you it's like that is the most intimate
Yeah.
connection that I think you would have with somebody. I mean, a romantic person, a love, that's a different kind of intimacy for
yeah.
sure. But I think that, the family intimacy is so, the bond is so strong. But I think that again, doing small gestures for people, making them coffee,
Mhm.
getting them, people that like those are the things that really matter, and
Yes.
and being thoughtful. And so I love to make you
Yes,
coffee.
and like I said, when she got invited to the baby shower, that was her first time ever meeting my side of the family and, my daughter's side of the family. And we welcomed her in with open arms like we didn't seen her about 2 days ago. I mean, so that's the kind of love my family shows. And, being over here with her family, that's the type of love they show to me. It'd be plenty of time. Her son Jonathan holler down the steps, "Toya!" What is it, Jonathan? You all right? Yes, I am. So it's just the little things, and I mean, that means a lot. And, to this day, I'm so used to being downstairs and her hollering, "Hey, Satoya."
Hey, ladies.
Yeah, hey, ladies. I don't get that no more unless I pick up the phone or text or call her and say, "Is you all right?"
I know.
Yeah.
I still walk downstairs and say, "Hey, ladies,"
Yeah,
because the
yeah.
ladies are. I still.
Yeah.
It's like my thing. Like, "Hey, ladies," as I'm
Yeah.
walking down the stairs
Yeah.
to you and my mom. And
You just don't know the little things you miss when they're no longer there. And that's why I say, as we came up with the idea to do this podcast, it's just like appreciate what little things you have. It might be little, it might be big, but appreciate it because one day it might be gone.
that's right.
It might be gone.
And I think again, it's like I'm excited to bring on guests that want to share their
Yeah,
experience
yes,
being
most definitely.
caregivers. I know I have a bunch of friends who have been, caregivers, experience this.
Mhm.
And then we want to get doctors on and we want to get experts on to talk about what this means, the sandwich maker generation. We are like people in their mid 40s
Mhm.
to like 60 years old are in that sandwich generation. They have aging parents. They might even have a partner that's aging,
Mhm.
and they definitely have young kids if they have kids or pets or whatever. But we're like heavy duty sandwich generation.
Yeah.
And as people start living longer and getting older, there's going to be more need to have shows like ours to
Mhm.
talk about what kind of caregiving you can give, what tools are out there, what stories we want to hear from everybody.
Yeah,
So
it's always good to get some resource because you can never have too much knowledge because like I said, this is a 24-hour job. You can never get enough. I mean, because the next person might give us some advice and say, "Hey, you could have did this and you could have did that." So that's why we want to bring people on because our stories could be different from your stories. I mean, everybody deals with a different story. And so, I mean, I'm excited about it.
me too.
I'm
And
very
tips actually,
excited.
now that I think about it, tips even for the caregivers to do self-care, like
Yeah.
some things that we might not have thought about, even, exercising, doing things.
And that's very important as a caregiver because, we do get broke down. We do be tired. So it is best. I don't care. I know there's a bill that need to be paid, but you should take a few dollars, set it to the side, get your massage, get
Yeah.
your hair done, get your nails done. Cause I mean, we do a hard job. She'll tell me in a minute, "I like your eyelashes, thank you. I like your hair, thank you. I'm gonna make sure while I'm out here taking care of somebody's loved one, I look cute in the midst of
You
it."
do. I always tell you I like
Yeah,
your
you
eye.
do.
I
You do.
can't do the lashes because I
Yeah.
have an allergy to the glue or whatever, but I wish I could.
Yeah, but
They
you
look
got
good.
you got to take care of yourself. I mean, you really do. Just I mean, it's the little things. Yeah,
It
I
is.
mean,
Well, love is in the details.
yeah.
So
Well,
love is, what does it say?
I don't know. I mean, it
Living
might
the
have,
dream?
yeah, living the dream. It's got love in there somewhere.
Okay, can I touch your stomach? Live beautifully, dream passionately, Oh, love completely.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
The sandwich makers.
The sandwich
So
maker.
join us along. We're gonna have a weekly show, and you can reach out to me on Instagram, Marnie Schneider 1. Your little mama,
1:30.
little mama 130 on Instagram.
Mhm.
Send us messages. If you want to be a guest on our show, reach out to us.
We'll
And
love to hear from you.
Yeah, we do.
We
We want to
do.
hear from you. We want to
Yeah.
hear your stories and learn and listen.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
come along with us on this
As
journey.
they say on TikTok, what is it? We listen, but we don't judge.
Okay, no judgment.
No judgment.
No judgment. No judgment.
Yeah, none
Look,
whatsoever.
Look at Irv. Right? I know. My dogs love Satoya, so
Yes.
that's how I knew she was really a keeper.
Yeah.
My mom loved her, but then the dogs loved her. So it was
Yeah.
like a win-win.
Yeah.
So anyway, Marnie Schneider 1 on Instagram, little LIL, Lil Mama 130 on
Mhm,
Instagram.
mhm.
Reach out to us and join us weekly for the sandwich makers.
Yeah. We got a lot more to talk about.
Lot to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, good. Stop.